The science of storytelling. How to create videos that actually convert.
Let's get into it.
Video Mavericks, the small business video marketing podcast. Presented by Workshop Media. With your hosts, Brett and Jeff, sharing a combined 40 years of video production and marketing experience. Take it away.
All right, so storytelling isn't just for big brands or big studios in Hollywood.
Or circle time at the library with kids.
That's right. So it's like the secret sauce to get your consumer to connect with you in an authentic way.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a story to tell, right?
Yep. And we talk about storytelling in all of our episodes, and we talk about it all the time in our work. But today we kind of want to take a step back and help define what that means a little bit more. Maybe we're taking for granted some things that we know that maybe is not as common knowledge as we would think it is because we're in it every single day. So our whole goal of the episode today is breaking down storytelling and talking through how it applies to video marketing for small businesses specifically, and how you can start to think about it for your business.
That's right. Yeah. What it is, why it works, how to create a repeatable process or formula to really take advantage of storytelling from a business perspective.
Yep. So what is it? What's storytelling in video marketing?
So it's quite literally just telling stories, right? And not being so sales focused, so direct with your appeal to your target customer. It's taking a step back and being a little bit more authentic, being a little vulnerable, just sharing, connecting and sharing with your target audience, which is ultimately likely your ideal customer for your business.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about brand story, and we've talked about it as a type of video, but brand story in general is the story of your business and how your business, why it exists, what it does, and how it's helping customers.
Yep.
And so whenever we're mentioning storytelling, we always want to go back to that baseline of the brand story for the business that the storytelling is going to serve. And so if we're thinking about the basics of storytelling, a character, the conflict and the resolution, it's wrapping it in, how does that fit to the story of your business and what your business is doing for your customer? So
a lot of times we say mission, vision, and values, right? Where are you placed in the world?
Right.
Why do you matter? Why, how are you solving the problems with what your story is authentically, Right.
And so when we're talking about storytelling, it could be long form video that's going to give all of that information in something like a brand film, but it doesn't have to be. And so it could be, even if it's like a 30-second video or a 15-second short.
Yep.
There's still story involved. It's a story of a busy mom that's struggling to get the healthy foods that she needs until she discovers a product that solves it for her, a protein shake, a bar, or whatever the thing is that's going to help her solve the problem of busy life, depleted energy. And so there is storyline there. We have a character, we have a problem that they've experienced, and a resolution that's been offered. And in this particular case, when we're talking about it in terms of businesses, the business is right there to help solve the problem for the character. So
that's right. And there's usually a framework you follow. A lot of times we think the business should be the hero, right?
Right.
And what we like to do is reverse that and sort of say the business is not the hero. The business is the guide. The hero is your customer, your target, your target audience, your ideal customer persona, who you're actually talking to.
So what's a customer persona?
Who you've kind of identified as the person that spends their money with you.
Your customer avatar. If you had to,
right.
if you had to simplify all these complicated people down to an avatar. Right.
That's right.
Didn't want to glaze over that one. That's a little bit of an industry term.
Yeah, it's important. So you're not the hero. Your customer's the hero. You're the guide. Batman, Alfred, Gandalf, Frodo.
Yep.
If you think about stories that we all know, there's going to be the person we follow who really doesn't know a whole bunch, is kind of likely maybe a little weak in the beginning, a little, unknowing, doesn't know, has a mission but doesn't know quite how to get there. There's going to be a support system We want you to be that support system for your hero customer.
Yeah, so it's thinking. So, and if everything you're doing as a business is with your customer in mind, then this will be a very organic and easy thing to follow. If it's not, and you're going, I don't really know how. Maybe there's bigger questions for how you're thinking about your customer and how you're thinking about your product offering. But if you're genuinely considering your customer as the central focus to everything you're doing, the product that you're offering and how you offer it, then
what you're saying to them and how you're saying it.
Then how you're positioning your business or the product that you're offering as a support to help them be great or to help them get what they're after, kind of helps to really lay the framework for the stories that you're telling and why you're telling a particular story.
Yeah. Now the challenge really comes in to where you're uploading the content. And then your story may be great, but depending on the platform, it may not do well. If it's either a scrolling issue, an algorithm issue, or whatever it is. Like, so once you realize that the storytelling is the thing that's going to work, it's then figuring out, how do I tell the story in a way, figure out all those pieces, and how do I tell it in a way that's going to actually be seen? And then ultimately, convert them down the line to become a customer.
But it's starting from that baseline of customer-minded, and then the story is wrapped around your brand story and how your brand is helping to serve the customer. So
it's funny, right? We say, stop thinking about yourself. Stop making it about yourself. Make it about them. Put them in a position to, like you talked about the mom and healthy foods, like make something about them so they can see themselves as it relates to your product. And your product becomes, or your business becomes, this savior, it comes, it saves the day, because you've made it about them and not about you.
So that kind of gets into why is it driving conversions. But the idea of why does this sort of thing work is that there's loads of studies and data that supports that people remember stories more than they're going to remember standalone data. So giving somebody a number versus giving them context in a storyline, it just works better.
Sometimes we don't even know, thinking about like the bigger brands, we don't even realize or know what the purpose was of the story they told. But then you start to associate those kind of values or that position with a brand. It may not be like the Budweiser and Clydesdales.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's kind of
Coca-Cola and Santa.
You just feel good, or you go like, hey, they took that space. We're not going to go and I'm not going to make another ad with Clydesdales.
Right.
That's theirs now, but you feel a certain way and you see it. I know in this previous Super Bowl, we see, they brought the Clydesdales back. It's like, I'm not going to go out and buy a Budweiser, but.
Or a horse.
Clydesdale. Good Clydesdale, man. You know what I mean, though? So, like, your storytelling, what they didn't do is go, Budweiser, They made you feel a certain way, and then you might make the connection yourself,
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe I will buy a Budweiser. Way to go.
That's a takeaway. That's a takeaway.
No, so like, I guess the point here is that like there's some, you talked about the kind of the brain being wired in a way that, we remember things, we feel a certain way, we latch our emotional connection to things. I think a lot of these bigger brands are doing that. They're relying on those connections, that bridge to happen without even talking about it. Storytelling is it. That's why the conversions happen, because we're not talking about the beer. We're talking about the feeling.
Yeah, and even if you're thinking about, let's take it back to something that we've definitely all interacted with in recent years, and that is social media. And the people that we tend to follow on social media, we're following a storyline of who this person is and what they do. It could be seemingly very random, but these are characters, in a world that they've created online, that now as you're scrolling through and you stop to laugh at their whatever the thing is or share it with your friend or whatever, you're now enveloped in a storyline that they've created. Maybe that storyline developed and they didn't mean to, or maybe it was incredibly intentional, but there is storyline even in goofy content, because that creator has decided that my story is going to be goofy content. That's the storyline. They're always going to have
a lot
thing
of them now, right?
That they come back to
kind of stuff.
So I bring that up to say, you can take advantage of building an audience with story, because we've seen people. We're seeing it every single day in the most ridiculous things, and the audiences are sticking around. So imagine if the story that you're offering has the viewer in mind in a very authentic way, and you're reaching the person that actually is predisposed to like what you're offering, it is a proper customer lead, then your story is it's really gonna stick with them. And when they choose to buy your product or come into your store, they already have a feeling about who this business is, which is not a single person. It's an entity that exists, but it's been personified in a way through story that creates an emotional connection that is really powerful, even if it's not so easy to put your finger on it.
Yep. And more on that, it helps you align with that brand and that business, right?
Yeah.
You feel like when you walk in, it's not only about knowing you already understand the business, but like aligning with them and feeling like you're a part of the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you like, these are my people kind of feeling. And I think that's what that storytelling, that emotion that you're talking about.
Yep.
That's why that matters. That's why it works.
Yep.
How do we apply storytelling to video?
Oh man.
I mean, what's your favorite song? That's that kind of question, right? Like, but how do we do it? And I think I kind of talked about it a little bit. It's that hero's journey.
Yep.
Make it about them, not about you.
Yep.
You're there to help them achieve their greatest desires, solve their most challenging pain points.
Yep.
That's what Alfred's doing for Bruce Wayne.
And keep those core elements in mind at all times. When you're trying to determine whether or not you're going to share a particular thing, does it fit in the brand that you're trying to put out into the world? Yeah. If you want to do a behind the scenes video of your operation, that's cool. Let's do it. But let's think about how we can create some storyline and why we're sharing this behind the scenes thing of the operation. Again, keeping the customer at the front of mind, and you're sharing it because you want them to have greater clarity on something, or you want to give them a sneak peek behind the curtain because that's going to help them understand better why the special ingredient that you have is good for them. Or, kind of as with all of our podcasts, I'm keeping it intentionally vague because we want you to see your business in the examples, but have those core elements of your brand story in mind at every single stage.
So if you think about your customer, their pain points, why you exist and how you exist to solve that pain point, the storytelling starts to become a little easier. If you go like, I know the busy mom wants healthy foods. How do we get there? Right. How do we come in to help her get her time back, get the healthy foods for her family, or whatever example we might have. But like that makes it a lot easier if you think about it. The alternative is going, I'm going to write a story about my business. It leaves it wide open to miss the mark. Ultimately, you might come up with a pretty cool idea, but if you forget about your framework and your target audience, you're going to kind of be out. You're going to be out of money and time and in energy, and you might not want to take another swing at it. But if you remember those things, who you're talking to, what you're trying to say to them, what their pain points are, and how you solve them, your story starts to kind of show itself. And then you can, like you mentioned a little bit ago, be goofy with it. As long as it's not at odds with your business and your brand, you could be goofy, funny, serious. That's where you could start wrapping the creative. Right. But you got to have that framework. You got to know that it's about them and it's not about you until the time is right.
Yeah, even something like an About Us video that's going to live on an About Us page on your website. It would seemingly be all about you,
right? And
it should be, but everything in there should be leading to a point that is you're now existing for the customer. So when you're talking about your backstory and how you got started, and when you had that really pivotal moment, and when your business took the direction to end up where it is today, and why you source this the way you do. It's all leading to the point of, and now we're here and we're the perfect solution because we understand you and we understand what you need.
We made that. We had that pivotal moment. We sourced that because of this, because of
that's right.
You and your journey.
That's right.
We exist to be there for you.
That's exactly right.
I think, that's pretty broad. Maybe there's some businesses that are, that might be this way or that, but generally speaking, as it pertains to storytelling and the science of it, that emotional connection and putting them, creating a scenario or a story that puts your customer first and how you come in and sort of guide them on their journey is always going to work. I mean, we want all your favorite movies, you know, they're all, there's a lead character and then there's people around them, you know?
Yeah. So the next time you're thinking about creating a piece of content, particularly video, because we will argue every single time that it is the best thing that you can do for your marketing effort. Think about how to structure what you're putting out there as a story rather than just a sales pitch. You can still sell. You should still sell. But try to wrap it in story, and you'll see quality customer engagement as a result of that.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We are also available for your podcast consumption on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We drop episodes weekly to help small business owners grow and scale their businesses with video marketing.
See ya.